9 weeks into this push phase at the Muscle Factory. About to do my bicep, hamstring, quad day. I call it leg day. I just do biceps on the front end, which is kind of a weird session, but we're gonna walk through it. I like to do foam rolling before my sessions, certain muscle groups. Again, the warm up before going into a movement, it's just truly about just raising body temperature up overall, or even just going directly into your movement that you're gonna do for the day, and that can absolutely be sufficient. So no need to waste lots of time. But currently, this push is going great. So I'm sitting at 255 pounds in the morning, and very good condition, very good strength level. I haven't really need to make changes this past couple weeks. Diet has stayed the same, around 680 grams of carbs on my train days, 330 protein, 65 fat. Main thing though is just changing some food sources around. I was just getting kind of burnt out at this food level of the sweet stuff. So you probably, if you've seen my IG, my post-workout meal was whey and cream of rice. That's gone to just white jasmine rice. And I rotate every other day between that meal with salmon, or I use chicken and olive oil. But I also add dates and pineapple to either one. So post-workout, that was one change. And just increase of dried fruit to keep like the total rice volume down, to keep my waist smaller, which helps just overall not staying so full throughout the day. If you want your waist to stay small, not having it distended all day long is a really key takeaway here. But that's it. Total, like on my non-train days, 380 grams of carbs, and fats come up to 90. Just do a little bit, like I'll do a steak on the weekends on that meal. But I haven't needed to change the diet, 10,000 steps a day. I do HIIT cardio post my push and pull days, so 4 days a week. Just 4 sets of 1 minute, all out. Not all out, it's like 80% effort. And I've noticed that still is translated really well to today, not getting gassed out on my leg press. So we'll jump into this session, explain a few things, get after it. All right, first exercise for the day, doing a bicep curl. Use a prime bar and just some D handles. I do a bilateral. I kind of suck bilateral, I'll be honest. Like, ideally, I would much rather be more, externally rotated. The single arm stuff, man, it's like I'm doing 3 sets of biceps. It's like doing 6 sets of biceps, just a time efficiency thing. Which with this setup, I get good connection with my bicep, and it is nearly for me like doing an easy bar curl to a sense, right? I do have some like travel like inward with the handles, which it's not a big deal because I leave after this and my biceps are pumped, like I'm getting bicep stimulus, right? So I've liked it. I liked it, even though when I look back at my video, I'm like, this isn't the best thing I've ever seen. I can see like, you're having some like forward elbow travel, which, an argument for that to like how strict should form be, like the shoulder doesn't move and you only contract and move at the elbow. But the shoulder does, the bicep does cross the shoulder, so having some shoulder flexion in your bicep curl and then controlling it out is what I do, because when you get up to the top here and then you're letting it out, you actually will have more loading in that lengthened position when you're coming out here versus leaving the arms down to the sides and only bending at the elbow. My range of motion is super small. It's like that is where the bicep and forearm meet. So that's why the range just looks different on me. Now what I do here is I do a combo set and I do my lying hamstring curl at the same time. So I'll do a set of biceps, come over, do a set of hamstrings. So it's time efficient, but also I get good rest breaks between my bicep and hamstring work. So for one, they don't interfere with one another, but also I get more quality work in for each muscle group. So do 3 sets on hamstrings, do 3 sets on that bicep curl, then I move on from there. I don't think we need to get overly complicated with bicep training. You're pretty much just bend at the elbow, and you make a good argument for like training the bicep with the elbow back or training it out in front of you to fully train that range of motion. Same with the hamstring, like it bends the knee. You should do something with knee bend with the hip flexed, something with knee bend with the hip in extension. So today we're doing that prone lying leg curl, and I do a RDL for one set, which I've been debating on because my lower back has been already pumped and tight. So, you know, I plan to have like 1 week off of it. I'm actually just trying to make it to the Arnold because then I'm going to take like 4 days off in a row for the Arnold. But I do have like my like sports car work tomorrow anyway, so I'm like, fuck it, just beat up the lower back. It's all good, in a good sense. Not like it's not like my spine and nervous system related, but so anyway, don't need a lot of exercises is what I'm saying here. You can fully train the hamstring with a lying leg curl and a seated leg curl. RDL is not necessarily needed. Basically, if you looked at the RDL and you had someone in that bent over position, it's basically a seated leg curl. You're just moving at the hip instead of moving at the knee. Next, we're doing, you're hearing me huffing and puffing. I just got done with my SLDL, but I do a preacher dumbbell curl, and I pair that with my SLDL. So I start my SLDL, I get like 1 set with a plate, go do my bicep curl, do 2 plates for my SLDL, do my 2nd set of my bicep curl. Done with biceps. So 5 sets of biceps, doing dumbbell preacher curl. It's not fully lengthened of the bicep, right? Because the biceps shortened a bit. However, it's loaded in a more lengthened position. So kind of my first set, kind of first exercise hits more mid-range. Then they're warm, comfortable, I feel safe to go do my dumbbell preacher curl. So we're hitting some different shoulder positions, I should say, doing our bicep curl. But 5 sets is plenty for biceps in 1 day. And it's not taxing as I do my SLDL, and no one takes my rack while I'm doing my SLDL. So I would call it RDL. I start at the top. So I like the top start position. So I feel like I can, for one, I should mention, like, I start with it in a rack position where I keep my feet close enough to where I could just like hitch it off the catches, and I don't have to take a step at all, and I just clear the J hooks. I'm not trying to walk out an RDL or anything, but starting at the top, what I can do is cue trying to break the bar in half, and that gets it really close to me. That's engaged in my lats, and I can get my entire core really braced for this movement. And what I aim to do, now I have the range of motion to do it, is to go all the way to the ground. And I do take just like the every bit of a kind of a touch go, not bounce, but controlled, letting it down to the floor. And my aim is just basically bend over at the hip. That's kind of what I think. I don't cue sit back, and I just kind of aim the bar for your ankle. So basically, yeah, it's just a straight hip hinge over, which keeps it a lot more hamstring and it's definitely spinal erector focus. And that's kind of what I want out of this, hams and spinal erectors. And I just work up to 1 set here. So I have 4 sets, basically what you count total for hamstring work, but this is such a large stimulus. I've had more sets in place, and I can get so much out of 1 set. I just don't need more. And also I have to keep in mind for myself, like, I don't need a lot more hamstring, glute, even spinal erector for that matter. So 1 set kind of fits the bill, because tomorrow I do my push day. So I don't want this session, which this session used to be an off day, I want volume to be a little lower here. I don't do a lot today. What I do is hard, but I don't want it to bleed into my push day and take away from that, because that is my main day without I need to progress. So if for any reason I got to a point strength level off-season wise, this session was impacting that, I absolutely would pull back on this day, probably make it an off day, and just go straight to just like seated lying hamstring work, spread biceps throughout the week, and have to just either only leg press today or put it back on leg day. But ideally, we're gonna leg press next. I like spreading that leg day volume out too, so I keep the quality of volume really, really high. The next exercise was leg press, and y'all will see it. I did 1 rep. So I hit 745 last time for 14. like I'll go to 800. Probably should be able to hit it for at least 12. First rep down. Maybe I shifted my weight to my toe a little bit. And man, I felt my soleus, the right side on the outside, just tighten up a little bit. And I knew it. If I went for another one, I would have probably torn my soleus for sure. And I've done it actually when I traveled to Oregon one time. There was a leg press with a different type of angle to it. And man, it put so much stretch on my soleus at the bottom. And I think shifting to my toe a little bit. And I popped that calf up. So what do? You walk away. Don't even fucking leg press today. I can just do leg extensions. So that's where I'm at now. So we won't be doing 3 sets of leg press. We're gonna do 3 sets of leg extension. So it's all good. You pivot and stuff like that happens. You still get in my quad volume. And what works out okay is that my priority, like I said, is push. So I'll just be a little fresher for tomorrow without having the leg press for 3 sets. All good. Live to fight another day. So that's what we do on the fly. One thing I should mention on that SLDL is that last rep looked pretty smooth when you watch the video, but with a movement like that, you're really watching for technical failure over mechanical failure. So actually going to, you just can't even move anymore. And what I noticed in that one is when I get to that like 7th rep, I probably could eke out another one, but I'm already seeing like I'm starting to move into like posterior hip tilt. That lumbar starting to just come out of neutral a bit. So not worth it, not worth it. Got to keep it locked in. And that's when we start shifting tension from muscle into passive structures that aren't meant to load in that way, and injuries happen. So as I go on the leg press and still almost get injured, anyway, we'll head up, knock out these sets. Right, that wraps up this session. Pretty short one today. My last set of leg extension, I added this guy on, which I should have done to begin with. I forgot we even had it. It's by Hustla. They're out of Australia. Pretty cool idea though, because a lot of leg extensions, sometimes you don't get the full range of motion out of them. So this way you can get a little bit more knee flexion with it. So awesome addition, at least for my last set. So this is my bicep leg day today. Tonight, Renee and I are going out for sushi. We are celebrating our Valentine's Day a little bit early to avoid some of the crowd out there. And look forward to it. So should be nice and fresh and loaded of sushi for my push day tomorrow. But I appreciate all of y'all tuning in. Hopefully throughout the Arnold, come by the animal booth. We'll have some times that I'm set to be there every single day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And look forward to meeting anyone that's out there. So again, thank you all for tuning in, follow my journey, and we'll talk to y'all next time.